Hey everybody, welcome back to some more early morning barking, talking about BPD and MPD by somebody that has both. Don't forget, hit the like and subscribe buttons. You'll do it if you love me. And do all the socially things scrolling past you on the screen right now so I can alert you of things that are important in some way. And also, thank you to everybody supporting me on Patreon. That's patreon.com/earlymorningbarking. It's a £3 a week Patreon, and you get extra videos and podcasts and stuff like that. And there's a Discord. It's so cool over there. You should come and join us. Thank you to everybody that does. Also, there is a super thanks button on the videos now, so if you want to buy me a coffee or anything, help support me and the channel, that's very much appreciated. So today is one for the uninitiated. If you have MPD, you might well be nodding along with me. We'll do it in a bingo-y kind of way, so you just, shout out when you've got all six. This is sort of a recap of some of the things we can do, and I think this might be helpful to both us to sort of go over them and do a little self-check. If we're trying to get better from narcissism and some of the things that we've done, it's important to just every so often go back over and see how we're doing, right? And if you're sort of a victim of these things, it might be interesting to see what's going on and where it's coming from. So 6 types of narcissistic abuse. This isn't necessarily all of them. This isn't a definitive list. There are just 6. I could probably go on giving examples all night. And, hopefully these 6 will sort of be general enough that you can guide your way through various bits of toxic behavior and narcissistic behavior in particular. So we start off number 1 with something really obvious: verbal abuse. There's not really much to explain with that one, is there? But it's a very important one. There are certain things you shouldn't have to put up with in a good relationship, right? And being called names, being told negative things about yourself constantly, actual verbal abuse is not on that list of things you should tolerate. That is narcissistic abuse, right? Feeling that you can talk to somebody in that way. That comes with a sense of entitlement, with wanting to feel bigger and better than. It belittles somebody when you verbally abuse them. It breaks them down emotionally, and it makes you bigger than them. And for a narcissist, for somebody with MPD that is is panicking about something, is feeling bad about something themselves, they're going to project that onto you. And bringing it out verbally is a very easy, straightforward way of doing it. And my advice to you is to not tolerate it, to not put up with it. Don't do it back. As with any of these things, I think that the temptation is to get one up, to get back, hurt people, And with verbal abuse, this sort of escalates, and don't put up with it, and we shouldn't be doing it in the first place. As people with MPD, when we're talking about resolving conflict or resolving problems that we're feeling, we should be working on better ways to do that than verbally abusing people, right? If we're still doing that, what are we doing here? This is an easy one to just stop, because we know when we're doing it, we know why we're doing it, and we know it's not going to get us anywhere. We've been down this path too many times, so why go down it again? It needs to end. Speaking of things that need to end, we move on to number 2. My transitions between numbers is going to be appalling, by the way. I've planned nothing, and I'm an idiot. Number 2 is gaslighting and manipulation. Gaslighting is, of course, sort of bending the truth, changing the truth. I didn't say that. You didn't say that. Don't be ridiculous, that kind of thing. You're remembering it wrong. Telling somebody that something isn't true when they know it to be so, or the other way around, whatever. It's the kind of thing that makes you feel like you should be recording conversations, because you know damn well that they said that. But if they keep it up, if we keep it up enough, you can have people forget. You can have people question themselves, question their reality. It manipulates people. And we manipulate people in so many ways beyond that, right? I mean, God, people are in general so easily manipulatable. And so much of life is about that, Look at the media we consume and how much of it is about, in some way, manipulating a human, whether that is to make us buy something or to feel something. And to use that to our own advantage within a relationship, to be controlling a person, is abusive. It's horrible. That's not what a relationship is about. That's not what people are for, but it's something that we feel we can do. And I've been guilty of it in friendships, in working relationships, in that sort of thing. It's something that we know we can spread out in different ways and contexts. So, of course, we're capable of it within relationships. It's abusive. And it, again, like everything, comes from fear. From the fact that we're not going to get things our way, from maybe that someone is going to leave us, something bad is going to happen and we're trying to stop it from happening, but not real bad things that are bad for us in our context. I'm not talking about, God, I almost made us sound like superheroes then. We know something bad is going to happen, so we're trying to prevent it. No, we're not talking about stopping 9/11. We're talking about controlling somebody behaving in a way I don't want them to behave. It's not a superhero thing at all. It's very sinister. It's very horrible. And dare I say, abusive. Can I monetize a video about abuse? This just hit me. Yeah. The next thing is withholding and neglect. Number 3. It's back into that manipulation again. That controlling what we give people. What we give you emotionally, how much of ourselves we let you have, and what that feels like for you. We can withhold emotion, we can withhold love, or we can give you an abundance of it. We can love bomb just as much as we can withhold. These are two ends of the same spectrum. Ideally, healthy people don't do either thing and live in the middle and give people the appropriate amount of affection. That's where we're aiming to be, right? And we know that love bombing can be a thing that comes out of fear, that we don't want someone to leave us. We're desperate for somebody to like us, to want to be with us. And so we give this exaggerated, over-the-top version of our emotions and go out of our way to do more than we would normally. And eventually, of course, that dies off because maybe we do get somebody to like us. And once they do, the effort diminishes significantly. And we eventually let our bad habits come out and we begin to become more abusive. That's how we can pull people in. But we can also withhold. We can do it at the other end. We can make people wish they had our affections by withholding them, by being cold, by being, just ignoring people. It's all about that manipulation, about getting what we want out of people. This sort of, I've tied this in with the next one, with number 4, love bombing and isolation. We can pull people away from their friends and family. They don't need anyone but us, right? And then that makes it all the more effective when we start to withhold that affection. It's all horrible. It's all abusive and manipulation. This is how we control people, how we keep them close to us, how we keep them near to us because we're afraid they'll leave. Because why? Do we not like ourselves? There are things we don't like about us, right? We have our reasons for thinking. Maybe we think we don't deserve love, really. And when we get it, we're just so desperate to hold on to it that the MPD takes over and will let us do these horrible, controlling, abusive, manipulative things. Withholding and neglect, love bombing and isolation. Two ends of the same spectrum. And much more effective in controlling somebody if there's a mix of both. Neither are healthy, neither are good. You don't want too much. You don't want to be love bombed. You don't want to be ignored. You don't want to be manipulated at all. But the person with MPD is quite likely afraid of so much. that they're going to do that. They're going to go to that length and maybe think nothing of it. Maybe they'll be a bit more malignant and thinking, well, if I can do that, then that's the way of things, right? That's okay then. It's like herding cattle. It's like sitting on furniture. It's like anything else. This person can be manipulated and therefore is there for me to manipulate. All abusive, all horrible. If you're going through this, you must get out of this. There's no excusing it. There's no making it okay. I mean, hopefully somebody can get help. Somebody can point this out. And I know that to the people watching this who have MPD, you might have gone through this and someone has pointed it out. And how long did it take you to realize and agree, yes, you were doing those things? Because some of these that I've done, it took me a long time to acknowledge. Right? That's part of the problem of MPD. We think we're fine. We think we're doing okay. We think we're great. And your complaints are just your complaints. Who cares? We move on to number 5, which is, I've written down making a scene. And it's something that I've actually talked about in the early days of the channel. So you can probably go and see me with lockdown hair. Talking about abuse by association. Right? When that entitlement comes out in public. And it's not just about how the person with MPD might treat you as an individual. It's actually about how they'll treat other individuals whilst in your company. You know, it's the person that you can't go to a restaurant with because they're going to just treat the waiter like garbage. The person that you're afraid to go shopping with them because they're going to start an argument with someone. You can't go on a night out because they're going to have a fight with someone. That way, that makes you afraid, constantly walking on eggshells, afraid to go anywhere, embarrassed, ashamed, worried that you're next. It feeds into that control, into that manipulation, that ways that someone with MPD can control somebody or tries to. I don't want to get mixed up with the desire to do these things and the ability to do these things. They're two very different things. And so, you know, some of us are damn awful at this stuff, and you can spot this and you can get out of it. And we go to the last one, number 6, covert abuse, which was something that it's a projection. It's God, whenever I felt this, it was like yelling into the air, but it hurts people. And it's little snipes, little barbed comments, little sarcastic comments, the little things that just drag people down. It's almost up there with the verbal abuse, but it's, as we say, covert. It's underneath. It's the, what did you just say? That made me feel like crap. That kind of thing. And we're not afraid to just, you can talk to somebody and let a tone of disrespect be in your speech. You know what I'm talking about. It's definitely a possible, easy thing to do. And as somebody with MPD, it's a good way to belittle somebody without the outright stress and all the other problems that come going all the way up to full-on verbal abuse. It's, again, controlling, manipulative. And we can feed this into so many ways. There are so many ways you can like pick on somebody. Are you going to have another drink? Do you need to eat that? Oh, you were late again. Is that what you're wearing? So many things that just pick away at a person. Oh, nice hat. What are you watching this for? So many little things that just, if they're meant, if they're serious, they're just horrible. And it breaks you. It is abusive. And so if you're going through this, don't put up with it. I'm not an abuse expert, right? But I do know that you shouldn't put up with it. And that as soon as possible, when you identify these behaviors, you need to understand that when we're talking about NPD, these may or may not change. And statistically, we lean far more towards the will not change. Right? Whoever's doing this, the people with NPD, need help. But they aren't necessarily going to get that help, because even if it's available, they aren't going to acknowledge all that readily that they need it, that something is wrong. It's possible. It's totally doable. I did it. I'm talking now on this video to other people who have done it and are doing it. It's totally possible to do. And with help, it is possible to get over these things and change the person that you are. But it's a long, painful process. And if you're living through a daily cycle of abuse, that's not something you need to live through. Yes, that person might need help, but you need help. Everybody needs help in this situation. And nobody should be suffering pain. And I hope that talking about these things and some of the things that they are and how they play out helps people identify both what they do and what they live through. Because in these situations, I don't believe there is a bad person involved. Right? This is done as a result of a personality disorder, a mental health problem. And those can be treated, especially this one. This one can be dealt with. And so I don't think it's the actions of a bad person as such, but they are harmful actions. And so the person doing these actions needs help, needs support from somewhere. But the person that are suffering the result of these actions shouldn't have to go through that anymore either. What you are willing to put up with is down to you as an individual in your personal situation. I can't speak to that. But if nothing is being done, if the individual who is doing these things isn't acknowledging them, isn't doing the work, isn't trying to get over these problems and seeking help and taking that help. Because I think in the lying and manipulation, the whole, I'm going to get help. Until it's happening, it's not a thing. So I think, you have to make your own decisions on that one, but don't go through things hoping they'll get better and waiting for them to. There needs to be evidence, I would say, at the very least. But hey, I'm just one person, an idiot with a camera and a microphone. So there we go. I hope a lot of you found that useful. Join me on live streams on Monday nights, midnight UK time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Don't know what time on the West Coast. That's a crazy time zone. And it'd be great to see you there. Have a chat. We'll talk about lots of different things. And also remember, come onto the Patreon and the super thanks and the like button. The subscribe again. Do that. Don't forget to subscribe. So I love you all very much. And I hope you're all doing okay. And I will see you on another video. You take care. I'll see you later.